So I have a lot of theories about the dating of Joseph Smith's daguerreotype. So I think there was a daguerreotype made. I don't think the picture I have ever was a daguerreotype. So if you go to the daguerreotype and likeness page on my website, right here there's a letter from Joseph Smith III to the Salt Lake Tribune. And I have the link right here, and I'll put this in the video. And so he is reading in 1910. He was born like in 1832. He's pretty old at this point. He's had a lot of fights with Brigham Young before Brigham Young died. Brigham Young accused Emma Smith of stealing pictures of Joseph and Hiram, and this was according to like a journal of Alexander Smith, which I had a link to on my website, but my mom told me to take it down, so I did, because it had a lot of other things that just weren't, it was by the Community of Christ, RLDS Church. They weren't really anti-Mormon, but they were definitely anti-Brigham Young. So there's a lot of anti-Brigham Young stuff on there. So I took that down, but I do have the reference of where it was like said, if that makes sense, kind of like this book, this date, I don't have it memorized, but it's on there, whatever. So that was Alexander. This is Joseph Smith III. They both were, two of the four children that we only know of, four children that Joseph Smith was the father, that he fathered. There's only four children that is for sure, 100% sure he fathered. He adopted a girl, and so that was the fifth. So, okay. In this newspaper article, they're basically saying that there is no authentic picture of the father, like there are no photographs, there's just nothing. He's just saying, I regret the statement that there's no authentic picture of my father in existence. And then he talks about, in his possession, having a daguerreotype. But then he says that daguerreotype was the basis for the painting. I'm going to try and pull these up. It's a little bit messy right here. See where here's this painting. Okay. I'm going to kind of put these side by side, okay? So you can kind of understand what is being said here. I should have highlighted this. So in 1843, the daguerreotype was used as a basis for a painting. It doesn't mean that the daguerreotype was taken in 1843. I actually think it was before even 1842 because of the hairline. I'll explain that in a second here. And I don't think that my picture was that daguerreotype. I've never said that. I've never thought that. And then at the end of his letter, he has enclosed a photograph taken from the oil painting, which people believe that photograph is what ended up in the Library of Congress. And the proportions, like, I am an artist, I studied art. Faces have always, for over 24 years, faces are my thing. I'm just good at faces. I can see little details of faces. I love drawing faces. I love painting faces. And so that's my thing. I studied art in college. And then since then I've studied more science, and I got a degree last year anyway. I just keep going back to school. I have a lot of degrees. That's just me. That's my background. So yes, I'm an amateur, but whatever. So it's clear that this is exactly the same as this. So he took a photograph of the painting, but this is not a photograph. People try to say it's a photograph right here. They think they see more detail. I don't know. No one's, one thing you learn when you draw faces is that the space in between the two eyes is the same length as the eye, and this is just, the eyes are too close together. This is not really a human face. It's a pretty okay done painting. I'm gonna take that away. Okay, but we'll focus on the painting here. I think, especially this bouffant hairstyle, it just goes up to there, so it's several inches above. His hair can't even go that. So this is Sutcliffe Maudsley in 1842. So this had to have been done from a daguerreotype. The daguerreotype had to have been taken way before. And so I think the Spiritist group really possibly could have that daguerreotype. He has the bouffant hairstyle, and the hair is brushed really far back. This hair is brushed straight forward and kind of flipped up, but it's not going like, if you look at it, it's going back. He has long, thick hair. At this point he doesn't, and it's receded really, really far back. I see that the hairline is receded even farther in 1844 according to the death mask. This is a lot farther back than here, so it's like progressively he's just losing some hair. It happens, and so this is him. I think this is 1844. I think there was a daguerreotype taken before 1844. He went to Washington, D.C. with Hiram. All the Saints had moved from Missouri because of the extermination order. Were in Illinois. He had to physically recover for about a year and then went to Washington, D.C. And so other people kind of theorized that. I theorized that too because there were daguerreotypists out there back then. So him and his brother almost died. I'm sure they knew that would have been at least something good they could give to their family coming back from there after a disappointing interview with the president who said that he couldn't do anything. So back then, the laws were pretty much states almost ran as their own country. I mean, we were the United States, but they had a lot more freedom to do things drastically differently than another state, if that makes sense. And so when I look at the hairline, this looks like it was really brushed straight forward and just like cut. Like, and this looks the same. Like this almost looks like the exact same thickness. This looks very thick right here. But he definitely has a receding hairline. And so I think maybe being summertime. And they also did cut a lot of his hair to give to people. I don't know if he really had that much hair to give hundreds of strands to people. I don't know how many people really got a strand of his hair. But I think he went and cut it like right there. Yeah. And then, so if you've looked at my website, there actually are a lot of different pages to it. So in facial analysis, I go into this to be kind of best, maybe if you just hit play, you can see this. I actually started out just outlining this, and I literally just drag and drop it. And actually the distance from here to here is the same between these two, and from here, the nose down is the same. I think there definitely was some swelling, because sometimes if I kind of make this, I didn't expand or make this bigger. I've done a better job with this before. I don't know. But even then, like, you can tell as someone who physically just went through so much. So as I've studied this, I've just noticed so many things that show that, you know, he's a big scar. And I see evidence of that by some pictures. Definitely looks like his nose broke. I see like the same curvature. So when I superimpose that, you can actually really see that. And then the hair color. So again, like, people cut a strand of his hair, they think it was really, really light. But none of these indicate his hair really looked that light. But then again, I think both of these were probably painted and photographed. And the painting based on a photograph that was probably done in more dim lighting. If you kind of look at Lucky Blue Smith here, you can see his hair could be really light, but in a little bit more dim lighting with a little more product in the hair, it can look really dark when really his hair is like that color. So, and I used to have pictures of myself on here, but I kind of took it off. I don't know. But my hair literally is like this color, and my hair can look this dark in bad lighting, but it's still this color. So, you know, and then I go into, people have issues with the ears. I mean, this scar. I thought I couldn't see this until a couple weeks ago. I'm like, oh, I can see that. Because when I superimpose the death mask like this is what I was focused on doing. You don't really see it. It isn't that clear. I don't know. My computer program isn't that great. It's kind of cheap. So, I mean, even though I knew that this Spiritus photo and my guy both have a scar in the same place like that, you can actually see it. Yeah. Chins match up. Go into the ears. Talked about that and other things. Here's evidence of him having not only ears that stick out, that were kind of large, by people that knew him or saw the daguerreotype. So yeah, there's a lot of different pages on here. The clothing is really interesting. You could go into that. But yeah, I really don't think that this was the daguerreotype. I mean, I take Joseph Smith III's word for it that he really had a daguerreotype. I don't think that there wasn't one. I just think he also had another picture taken in 1844, and I just really think that's what this is. And if you have any questions about this being a carta vista, you know, one professional wouldn't even talk to me because he thought only daguerreotypes existed, and only in carta vistas, anything on a carta vista, it just automatically meant it has to be after 1854 because, you know, carta vistas weren't patented until 1854. But then you got Emma Smith's 1845 photograph that is on a carta vista and was reprinted. But that just goes back to the fact that paper photography, from its invention, had an up on daguerreotypes because it could be reprinted. It was cheaper. It was big in England. Most of the members of the church in the early 1840s were in England and coming from England. It was just, the church was growing like wildfire in England. It was growing here too, but the English really were up and up with the population, and so having that technology, I'm sure someone came, maybe had this, or either way, it was released into a journal. You know, the daguerreotype, Daguerre released his findings in Paris in 1839. Henry Fox Talbot released his information in 1840. By 1844, he's so progressed in his paper photography and his process of reprinting, he's able to reprint many books with his own paper photography called The Pencil of Nature, released the same year Joseph Smith died. So the likelihood of him having a paper photograph done and reprinted, if not later on. The back of this is it says Newark, Illinois. That's Kendall County. Joseph Smith III lived in Kendall County for about 20 years as he ran the RLDS Church for a while in Plano, Illinois. Then they went to Missouri later on. But for about 20 years, he was out there. The man that I bought this from said, and then he told me, so I've heard from other people, he's told that it came from, before I bought it, that it came from a Smith family photo album. He told me the same thing. He just, you know, even though he thought this was Joseph Smith at one point, and I found out that I'm slightly related to him, so I was kind of intrigued by this. That was part of it, you know, and also my motivation of, before I owned it, was just seeing curiosity of what he physically went through as I've analyzed this, and seeing scars and things. You know, it's really have a lot more compassion for Joseph Smith. But yeah, it came in a Smith family photo album. He said that to several people, and then he said it to me when I bought it. But he sold all the pictures individually, so that would have been great proof. I mean, if anything was going to prove it and really be a strong support to it, it would have been that. But I mean, that's gone and done, and you know, that photo album is like gone. But he did tell me that, and I did find that interesting. But as far as where I'm going from here, and I've had some crazy 2 weeks. I'm sick. I'm recovering from illness. I'm on a lot of medications and stuff. And so I've been I feel more motivated. I really appreciate the kind words. So I feel more motivated to find some people to help me, but those are going to be people that really are scientists. I'm going to be very picky about those people. But, you know, I appreciate that I've had some really good artists agree with me to some degree. It's not like you can say it looks the same, but someone who actually has an artistic eye that actually draws faces, those are people I trust. This man that I won't say his name, he's the best artist I know alive. And he said some supportive things, that he's from Idaho. But yeah, I thought that was kind of cool, you know. But I'm not going to quote him, and I'm sure he doesn't want to be quoted. But yeah, I would love him to do a painting of this if someone else wants to. I mean, that's fine, you know. But as far as the research goes, it is my photograph. That is my job to do. And I am going to choose people that are scientists, not people just playing a forensic scientist for the day that studied something weird random in college. I want someone that actually has a science degree that studied forensics. And I will have someone forensically analyze this soon. Anyway, have a good day.